Okay, hold on. And then we got that. Okay, that looks good. Now let me just check on my phone before anybody gets in here. Okay, YouTube looks good, and Twitch probably also looks good.
Cool, cool, cool. Love it, love it.
Let me just pull it up on my phone so I can see the chat. Perfect. There we go. All right. Welcome into First and Gold, everybody. We are here for a live stream, a special live stream, which we do episodes weekly, as you guys know, on our YouTube channel. But we haven't live streamed an actual podcast episode. Now, today, as you can see, we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about everything in the NFL, a lot of playoff previews, predictions, and we're going to have some fun games at the end as well. So welcome in one of my good friends, Jordan, diehard Giants fan. And Jordan, how about you introduce yourself to the people watching?
Yeah, how you guys doing? My name's Jordan Bell. I'm obviously, as Sam said, a diehard Giants fan. I'm a huge football fanatic. Football is my life. I work in football. I love football. I've been a football fan, gosh, forever. Like I don't remember when the love started, but I love it. I played it. I've been a part of it, and I don't think it's ever gonna die, no matter what. I think it's always gonna be a part of me.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I've been a fan, honestly. I have a little picture. Hold on, let me get it real quick. I have a
Okay.
picture of myself when I was 4 years old, wearing a Larry Johnson Chiefs jersey. And ever since then, I know a lot of people, I live in New Jersey. I am young,
Mm.
and I'm wearing a Chiefs jersey. So, first word that
Of
pops
course.
into your head, bandwagon, of course. But,
Yeah.
I got very lucky because my dad just let my brother and I pick the most random teams when we were growing up, just basically based on what helmet we liked. So, my dad
Okay.
as a kid picked the Bengals. My brother picked the Vikings. I picked the Chiefs. I was the lucky one, the youngest in the family. But yeah, I mean, I've been diehard since I was a kid, and before we get into all the talks about the playoffs, Jordan, as you said, you're a Giants fan. Let's just hear some of your thoughts about what a wild season it's been, especially for the Giants from your perspective. I have to hear it.
Yeah, so for me, it's been a little disappointing. Um, Not more of a sense of, and maybe I'm a different take than what you'll hear on the sports news and talk shows. Disappointing in a sense of, man, this doesn't feel like what it should have been. And in a sense of, we look this season, you look at the schedule. All the season, everyone was like, with the hardest schedule, Russell Wilson being the quarterback. Hey, when's Jackson Dart gonna get in? Uh, is Jameis Winston gonna play? You know, is the defensive line. It's going to be amazing, but everything else is going to fall apart. Like, Brian Dable's going to get fired. Like, as much as a lot of those came true, it wasn't in the sense of, I think, what people thought it was. I mean, you look at the hardest schedule. Yes. Did we have one of the hardest schedules? Yes. I do think the Cowboys not having Micah Parsons did bring it down. Actually, by metrics, it actually did bring it down. We didn't actually have the hardest schedule. I know people like to say that, but we didn't by metric
Yeah.
standpoint. But I think you talk about like disappointing in the sense of, man, we're in every single game. I know there's a couple we weren't in, right? There's a couple games we weren't going to win. The Saints game is one of them. I know a lot of Giants would say and tell you, well, if one play went this way. I mean, we said about every game in any NFL. You know the game, Sam. But I don't think the Saints game we would have won. The second Eagles game, I don't think we would have won. I think after Scat got injured, I think the air of the Giants got sucked out. The recent game with the Patriots, probably one of the most embarrassing Giants performance I've ever seen. And even some of our worst teams like that performance was terrible. It looked like, in a sense, coaching malpractice. Looked like the guys weren't prepared to play. Um, and I think a lot of this blame honestly has to be on the coaching staff. Has to be on the coaching staff and the coaching malpractice and the decision making, and I think that's where a lot of the losses come from. I mean, yes, we've had some rookie mistakes from Jackson, and I think all of us expected that. We've had bad defensive play, secondary and defensive line. I mean, I look at the Bears game. Kayvon Thibodeau has a chance to sack Caleb Williams 5 times. I think we're talking about Caleb Williams and the Bears season, not so much differently, but man, like you lost to the Giants, they're in a different spot as well. As you're talking about Kayvon Thibodeau differently, and you're talking about the Giants differently. Add to the impressive wins. Like if you look at the 2 wins, hey, against the Chargers, who yes have had a very up and down season with all their injuries, and they look at the Eagles. Obviously, I think we were the start of the down for all the Eagles. I think that game really shocked the world, and that's what I'm talking about. I think we shocked the world, and I think if you look, could we have been in a better spot? Maybe what that first year Brian Dable felt like, 2022, if I'm being exact, that 2022 season
Yep.
where no one expected any one of us to make the playoffs, and not saying we would have, but it would have been nice. Look at those wins. Hey, NFC East. Maybe we're sitting where the Cowboys are sitting. We're the ones fighting for a spot or fighting for something. But now you're sitting, and it's like every year, 2-10, or 2-11 now. Let me double check. We're 2-11 now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
two
and
and
eleven.
11, 2-11 now. Looking okay. Are we gonna get this top pick? But what's different about the season is the fact that we finally have a quarterback. We finally can go into our season not worrying, oh, where's a quarterback come from? Free agency, trade, draft. It's now, okay, we have a quarterback. And I feel like if you have a quarterback, you're starting somewhere. You're on the right track. And I do feel like this team is on the right track. I do believe a lot of the injury happens, but I do believe we have a lot of trade pieces. I do believe we have a way to make cap space because of the rookie contract with Jackson, because we're going to have a top 5 pick, maybe. There's a lot of options. You can go offensive line, you can go receiver, you could trade back, which I'm a big fan of. Hey, let's trade back into that receiver because I think this is a draft where the edge rusher component is huge, and there's teams that are needed edge rusher, that are in that top 5, top 7, top 10 that we can trade back and still go get a wide receiver of our choice. So that's how my outlook on the season. Yeah, maybe very different from other Giants fans, but it's been a heartbreaking one, but at the same time, it's just like, man, it's a lot of optimism and at times a lot of fun. Shout out Jameis Winston for that little short run. I understand we lost 0-2, but man, I'm excited for him as well, just being the backup. I'm usually not excited for back quarterbacks when it comes to the Giants. I mean, we've had some exciting ones, Tommy DeVito, to be exact, but man, it's fun when you have a nice backup and someone you can trust. And we have that as well. So I do love that. And excited for the future, honestly. And this is the first I would say this and be truly excited for the future of the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points. I think the fact, when I think of the Giants this season and I see 2-11 next to their name, I immediately think this has got to be one of the best 2-11 teams I've ever seen because I think
Mhm.
I think obviously you gave your reasons to why they were failing this season, and a lot of them are great reasons. But also on the flip side, like you said, I think there is a lot of optimism going into next season because of the sparks you've seen in Jackson Dart, because of the sparks you've seen in Cam Scadaboo, because of that front four. And I just think, like you said, like there was a lot of games where it came down to the wire, and this was just one of those seasons, like the complete opposite of 2022, where those games just didn't go to the Giants' way. So I agree that the Giants are kind of this dark horse team going into next season, and it could be a lot worse if you're a Giants fan because I think there's other teams sitting there like the Raiders or you name it, and they just have such a bland future ahead. And at least it seems like, I mean, it's so early still, but it seems like you have something in Jackson Dart. And we'll see what happens with the coaching staff moving forward. I think you made a great point that a lot of the issues this season have been coaching. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Giants do. I mean, as someone who lives in New Jersey as well, I talk to a lot of Giants fans. I'm always keeping, track of how they're doing. So it is cool to see, your perspective and really hear what it's like going through a season like this where, yeah, you are most likely going to end up with a top 5, maybe even a top 3 pick. And it's weird because they were the first team eliminated from the playoffs. It doesn't seem like it, but that's the
Yeah.
case. And, going on the flip side, I've talked a lot about this on the podcast, with the Chiefs this season. It's weird because obviously I'm a diehard, so I want to always share my emotions about the team and
Hmm.
exactly what I'm feeling in the moment. But then there's this other side of me that's like, should I even say anything really? Like, I'm one of the most spoiled. I'm only 24 years old. I got to be one of the most spoiled human beings who loves football on planet Earth. So I'm trying to toe the line between being annoyed with what's happening this season and also keeping track of the bigger picture and how lucky I've been. But I will say this about this season. You were talking about coaching with the Giants. I think a huge part of why the Chiefs are sitting at 6-6 with a do or die game on Sunday Night Football against the Texans is the coaching. And if I had a few words to describe the Chiefs this season, I would say stale. I would say complacent. I would say hubris. And I do think the fact that in the last 3 years where the Chiefs went to 3 straight Super Bowls, the fact that a lot of these games came down to the wire and they were able to pull out a lot of rabbits out of their hats and win these games probably made them think, oh, okay, we probably don't have to take care of the running back room, or we probably don't have to take care of the defensive lineman room. Chris Jones has got that covered. We'll pay him $30 million a year. And I just think this is finally the season where just things aren't going our way. And I think it's going to be a huge showing to the ego of this coaching staff and Brett Veach, the GM, to see what they do in this offseason, because this is a huge turning point. And the fact that we are on the verge of missing the playoffs with a prime Patrick Mahomes, who, by the way, he's had his mistakes this season. He has been a part of a couple of these losses with some really bad interceptions. But if you look at his stats, he is on his way to 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this year. That's one of his better seasons in the last few years. So if you're missing the playoffs with a 30-year-old prime Patrick Mahomes, that's a major issue. They need to take a good look in the mirror this season. Now, personally, of course, I'm disappointed what's happening this year. But on the other side, missing the playoffs might not be the worst thing in the world. And I think that might be the only way to start tearing a lot of things down. So I do think it's gotten to a point, especially offensively, where last year, I thought it was more of a personnel issue and an injury issue. This year, I think personnel-wise, we're one of the most talented Chiefs teams we've ever had in the Mahomes era. And a lot of it came down to execution this year. And I just think that Andy Reid has been very stubborn in his play calling, where a lot of teams are starting to figure out exactly what he's doing. I mean, there have been some crazy situational play calls this year where in the Colts game, luckily we won this game, but in overtime, on second down, they're like, let's just run an inside zone to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And then last week against the Cowboys, on a 4th and 2, down 17-14, they run a bubble screen to our 4th string tight end, Jared Wiley. And it's just things like that that make me scared. And the fact that that play worked makes me even more scared for what's going to come this upcoming week, because now Andy Reid thinks that was a good play. So there's just little things like that that have worked in the past but are starting not to work this season, where they need to wake up and really start to fix things this offseason. So we'll see what happens. If I had a gun to my head right now, do I think the Chiefs make the playoffs? Unfortunately, I just don't. They've shown so many things this year that I know people from the outside, and this is how I thought about the Patriots for so many years. I know a lot of people are like, don't count them out. They're probably going to make the playoffs. I just don't think so. So we'll see what happens, but we got a big 5-game stretch coming up before the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. Looking at the playoff picture and looking at the AFC, like, it's very much like out of, the 3 teams that you're looking at making is the Chiefs, Steelers, and Texans. And then you're talking about the Ravens and the Steelers fighting for their division. The Texans, I think the Colts, have a chance to run away with the division. But again, I think, and we'll talk about this more, but, I think the Daniel Jones injury is, I think that's going to affect it a lot. And we'll get into each team in the playoff, but, or we can even start there. But I look at some of these things, and if there's a lot of teams I'm looking at, it's like, hey, the Chiefs could still make it. I just look at some of the teams in this fighting for their spot, and I'm thinking, are they really that good to hold their spot? And, could the Chiefs sneak in? I don't know. I truly know, but like I said, we'll get into the playoff talk. But yeah, I'm with you with the Chiefs. And that coaching, you guys don't have more coaching malpractice. I think it's just a sense of, there's a lot of issues that weren't fixed that were like, well, we keep winning games, but we don't have to worry about that. Where I'm on the side of where we're losing games and we need to fix them, and they've gotten fixed or money's been spent, and it just, we still don't have the coaches. Shout out Shane Bowen to
Yeah.
fix those. Listen, not a Shane Bowen guy. Wasn't one. I'm not one of these new people like, oh, I hate Shane Bowen. I didn't like Shane Bowen when the hire happened. I just felt like we had a lot of just talking from a corner standpoint. Um, we had a lot of man corners, and we hired a zone defensive minded coach. It's like, that's like taking a Ferrari and putting diesel gas in it. Like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's fast, beautiful, it looks great, but you put the wrong gas in it. What is it? It's just a car. It's just a corner, but a corner in the wrong situation. But yeah, but I understand completely your frustration in the sense of what could be. But just a different side of the coin.
Yeah, anyone with Shane in their name, just get them as far away as possible from the Giants building, like at this point. But all right, yes, we
So,
will move on because I have the AFC and NFC playoff picture in front of us. And just as an overall to start, I mean, this has been by far one of the most unpredictable seasons. Just looking at this doesn't even make sense if you were to show us this in August. And it's kind of funny because the picture from 2018, where it was Tom Brady, Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, and Case Keenum walking towards the Lombardi, was resurfacing and it was going viral this offseason. I feel like now this is a perfect moment to kind of feel like that might happen again. So, Jordan, I want to hear, but just by looking at this playoff picture, what surprises you the most?
so what surprises me the most, I think, is I have a couple. So one is the Bears. I think the Bears in first surprises me because I think we talked a little bit about the Bears, what they could be, and I thought this would be the year they would just fight and just maybe just miss the playoffs. And then you're talking, they're the one of the teams that's like, hey, you better watch out for the Bears because I did believe in Ben Johnson. When you looked at the two coaching hires between Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, I did believe in Ben Johnson more than I believed in Aaron Glenn as a head coach. I just felt like his demeanor was just head coach ready. Without the experience, I mean, obviously Aaron Glenn had that with New Orleans, but I don't know. I really like Ben Johnson. I really like the way he did it. Do I like the way he handled it? No, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I do. The Bears surprise me. I look at the NFC as well. The 49ers. And why do they surprise me? I'm surprised by the fact that they've had injuries to teams that they're looking and they have a top 5, 10 pick. And they're fighting for a playoff spot. And shout out the coaching staff. Shout out Kyle Shanahan, who I've been very critical of in the past. Shout out just the team in general. I mean, you look and they're 9-4. They're winning some of the tight games. Purdy's been out. Shout out Mac Jones, who played great. I do think he's a very much a Kyle Shanahan type of coach. So those surprise me. Obviously, I don't know if we're also hitting on teams on the bubble, but like I think the NFC is a lot more competitive than the AFC for the first time in a long time when he talks about teams making the playoffs. And if certain team gets in, I'm looking at the Panthers, Cowboys, Lions. If they get in, they're a scary team to face for anybody in the top, even the Bears. And then I look at the AFC side of things. I think the Jaguars. I mean, I know we've been talking about the Bears, the Patriots, the Colts at times. Why are we not talking about the Jaguars? Why are we not having conversation about the Jaguars? The Jaguars were not a team this year. They were mocked a little bit about the Travis Hunter. The coaching staff is great. The GM said we're going to take a risk, and they're kind of not in that win now, but they're in that hey, we want to add talent. They're surrounding Trevor Lawrence with pieces. They went out and got Jacoby Myers, got him a wide receiver two at the time looking. Brian Thomason can kind of put it together. I mean, just, and that's the other thing. Brian Thomas has been off this year. He's had a very bad sophomore slump.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, and we talked about, and obviously the Giants fan, I think we have one of the best receivers in football, Malik Neighbors, but I would always get overshadowed, Giants fans overshadowed, well, Brian Thomas is better. Well, I don't know. Malik Neighbors, it definitely showed out before he got injured that
Yep.
he was the best receiver in that class. But again, that's what a bad Brian Thomas Jr. season. So you look at that and it's like, why are they not getting enough credit? I mean, we talked about Trevor Lawrence not being the prince, as Nick Wright likes to call him, not being the next Peyton Manning. And has he been that? No, I'm not saying you're saying he has, but it's like, man, he's been good. He's been good in these last couple games and he showed out. And He's had his moments where he looks like the old Trevor Lawrence, but he has his moment where he looks like the Trevor Lawrence that we thought he could be. I then look at a team like the Colts that I really want to hit on. I mean, you want to talk about a team that like might end up falling out and they can't. I mean, I'm wearing a Colts jersey right now, just so no one's confused. It's actually a Hall of Fame Peyton Manning jersey.
I like it.
Um, yeah, I got it from the Hall of Fame. And I think this is perfect leeway just to talk about them. I think the Colts, because of the fact that Daniel Jones has a fibula injury. I think it's a broken or sprained fibula. It's a fibula injury. Alex Smith talked about it. He said he tried to play through that and he couldn't play through it. And Daniel Jones again, like, and Alex Smith said it. Credit to Alex Smith. He's one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the league, and he's can't use that ability, and that's a big thing for the Colts because if he can't run, guess what? Teams are going to start stacking the box
Yep.
uh, against Jonathan Taylor when they play a good team with good pass rushers. Like the Jaguars have a good pass rusher in Josh Hines Allen. Trayvon Walker isn't that first round pick that we thought he was going to be the first pick of the draft, but he's still a good pass rusher. Again, when he can't move in the pocket, like, can he deliver the ball? So it's so many questions and things that, there's a lot of questions around them. Look at defense. Sauce Gardner looked like he got a calf strain, looked a little scary. Knock on wood that it's not. We pray for his health as well. We never want to see anybody get injured, but it looked like maybe it was more of an Achilles injury.
Wow.
Hope it's not. Like I said, knock on wood. Just looked very much like remnants of KD's injury when he injured himself in the 2018 finals. He looked back and looked. Someone stepped on him. And he grabbed his calf and then grabbed his Achilles. It looked very similar. And I know I'm crossbreeding sports, but looking back at it a couple of times, it looked like that. And then also the Bills. I think. I look at the top two teams in the AFC, right? The Patriots and Broncos. I think the Broncos are just pulling out close games, essentially. I think the Patriots are just have an easy schedule, and you can't, you play who you got, and I think the Bills. When I look at them, I think they're very sporadic. I don't know what you're gonna get out the Bills. One week they look like the team we thought they could be, and then we look at them and they're like, it looks like Josh Allen from his rookie year, his first year, just unstable, not being able to deliver the ball. But he also doesn't have the help around him. He's very inconsistent help, and his defense is not that good. Like they're a team that, like, in my opinion, when I look at this, and I look at the roster. I hope they shouldn't make the playoffs, and they shouldn't. And who knows? They might perform when they get in. But
Wow.
when I look at the playoffs, I mean, I think, you know, the Texans, like if the way they fight, the way Davis Mills came in, they deserve it. I don't think the Steelers deserve it. I think they play bad football. I think they're in shambles. I think they're just a little better looking than the Dolphins, if anything. And obviously, I'm a huge Mahomes fan, so I would love to see the Chiefs in the playoffs. And I am a big Mahomes fan. So, but
I've heard
again,
that from Giants
even
fans, honestly. A lot of Giants fans I've
yeah,
talked to like Mahomes. Maybe it's because we
yeah. I
beat
mean,
the Eagles the first time.
I ain't never got a problem. Before he even beat the Eagles, I loved him at Texas Tech. I was a big fan. Him and Baker Mayfield having that game, Texas Tech versus Oklahoma,
Oh yeah,
really got me
classic.
into both of those guys. Two of my favorite quarterbacks, really of all time. Just getting to watch them. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of teams in this, and even like I mean, can we talk about them? The Dolphins. I mean,
Listen, they
I'm not
don't
saying they're
have the
gonna make
worst
the
schedule
playoffs,
coming up.
but yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule. You look at them 5-7, 6-6. The Chiefs. The Ravens play the Steelers. The Texans play the Kansas City Chiefs. Couple losses here and there, and their playoff chances are very slim. But I don't know, like, and what a story that would be. I'm not saying they would make it, but what a story that would be if the Dolphins make it. I mean, you look at that franchise kind of on the 360, kind of how we're looking at the Panthers, maybe. I don't know, but those are just my surprises. But when you look at these on the bubble teams, especially in the NFC, and Lions, Cowboys, Panthers, I mean, talk about like a fight to the end. That Thursday night game tomorrow, and we're live streaming this, so it is tomorrow. Like, what an exciting game
Oh
in the
yeah.
middle of the, uh, you know, to really decide. Like that could be, you could look at that's one of those games you look back and say, you know what, whoever wins this might be the seventh seed come to it, and it could be because of that game.
Yeah, just looking at the in the hunt graphic for the NFC, it just shows how much stronger it is than the AFC this year. I mean, I would just, if I had to bet on it, whoever's coming out of the NFC probably beats the AFC team. But knowing this season, it will probably be the opposite. But just looking,
Nice.
first of all, the gall for this website to have the Jets and the Browns in the hunt is just hilarious. But
Yeah.
hey, you never know. Mathematically, it not eliminated yet. But yeah, I agree with a lot with what you said. The funniest thing is that if the Chiefs were to win out for the rest of the season, and the Colts go 3-2 for the rest of the season, not a terrible record, 3-2, the Colts miss the playoffs. And
Yeah.
I think that's an insane downfall from what's been happening this season. Although, yes, you explained it perfectly. The fact that Daniel Jones is now limited in his running ability, and it's not even just his ability to take off, but he was so efficient in the play action game for the first 2/3 of the season, where if that's going to become limited, like you said, they're going to stack the box against Jonathan Taylor. So quietly, it's still quiet because they're 8-4 and there's 5 games left, but I really do think the Colts, out of all those teams in the top 7 right now, might have the best shot at missing the playoffs, which is crazy to think about. They were like the front runner AFC team for like the first 6-7 weeks of the season. Didn't mean to say that, but listen, do I think that the Steelers are going to make the playoffs? I just don't. I feel like they're such a disgusting team where I don't even feel like having discourse on them anymore. And you know what? Steelers fans were booing the whole team during Renegade in the last game. They were chanting "Fire Mike Tomlin." At this point, changes need to be made. So I don't even want to see the Steelers in the playoffs because I feel like that's just a waste of space. So for me, they're out. The Dolphins, that would be an insane story. But also, if I had to watch Tua go into Denver on a Saturday afternoon, I just don't know if I'm sitting down enjoying that game.
Hey, listen, I'm with you, and they're like you said, the Steelers needing kind of like that. They shouldn't make it. I don't think it would help the Dolphins either, in a sense, making the playoffs. I think if anything, there's more questions. There's a delay in the inevitable of Mike McDaniels being fired, Tua being fired. I think there's a lot of. I think they're not a team that needs to make the playoffs. I think there's a team that should maybe be done and reset because of there's going to inevitably be a new GM coming in.
Absolutely. And Joey in the chat says, "Wow, Sam, he's a diehard Steelers fan." I'm sorry, Joey. Listen, and also shout out everybody in the chat. We'll get to you guys in a second, I promise, after this playoff preview. If you guys have any comments as well or questions, we will answer them at the end of these segments. So I appreciate all the viewers. But yes, going back to the playoff picture real quick. Let's see. I mean, obviously the Patriots, it's just hilarious to think about that the Patriots finally stopped their dynasty, and then the Bills were tortured by the Chiefs for 5 years, and now the Chiefs might miss the playoffs, and the Patriots are the 1 seed. So, hilarious, yes. Shocking, yes. And it's interesting because there's a lot of things you could pick out from each of these AFC teams that scare you, and it does feel like the Patriots are the most complete team out of these. However, their thing is, well, their schedule's been kind of easy. And listen, they have showed out against their tough opponents. They beat the Bucs in Tampa. They beat the Bills in primetime. So we will see with the Patriots. I think right now, oh man, if I had to pick a team coming out of the AFC, it's interesting because, listen, the Chiefs get in, there's always a shot. The Bills, at this point, if the Bills and Josh Allen can't take advantage of the Chiefs being out of here, then I don't think they have the team to do it, just talent-wise anyways, but just in terms of the mental psyche of the team, that's going to hurt. And, yeah, I mean, the Ravens are just way too stale right now, and I think Lamar needs to make sure he's as healthy as possible come playoff time if they win their division, because right now I feel like in that small winning streak they did have to get back up to the top of the division, they were really kind of just barely coasting on by. And I think the primetime game against the Bengals exposed their flaws a little bit more. So we'll see what happens with the Ravens. I love what you said about the Jaguars. I mean, nobody's talking about the Jaguars. And as a bias thing, I don't want to talk about them because I'm still angry that we lost them on Monday Night Football. And I'm confused.
What a game, though.
What a game. That is true. It's going to be interesting that now the Chiefs have the Mariota touchdown pass to himself and the Trevor Lawrence stumble touchdown as 2 highlights against us. And weird things happen when we play the AFC South. But
yeah,
I guess the fact that they're winning now makes it seem not as bad that we lost to them. But Yeah, I mean, it's just so wide open. But when you go down to the NFC, even though the Rams had a tough loss against the Panthers on Sunday, I just don't see, especially if the team stays healthy, I just don't see how they're not the front runner still. I believe they're going to take back the 1 seed at some point and secure it. And I don't think Matt Stafford is going to have a game like that again. I think that was just a very fluky game. His first interception was a tip pass, anyways. The pick six was bad. But yeah, the funny thing is you see the Bears at the top, which also very surprising. But funny enough, this is a stat where out of all 7 teams that are in the playoff picture right now, the Bears have the smallest percentage chance of making the playoffs out of the 7 teams. And a lot of it has to do with their strength of schedule coming up and the fact that their division is really good. And they got to play the Packers this week and 3 weeks from now. And I think that's going to be really telling of where the Bears are at because kind of like the Broncos, although I like the Bears a little bit better, they have had a season where a lot of things have gone their way and they've been very clutch. And I do like Ben Johnson, but it's funny because can I see the Bears making a run? Sure, but can I also see the Bears completely flopping in the wild card round and blowing it? Yes. So this is just a season where I am desperately looking for stability anywhere I can go. And I think the top 2 teams right now are the Rams. And funny enough, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the San Francisco 49ers. I think they are the darkest of horses coming into this playoff race. And if they can just get in there, if Brock Purdy can just stop the turnovers, which I can't really count on, but if he can just limit the turnovers, I truly do believe that the 49ers can make a small push towards the Super Bowl again. I really do.
Okay, so I think you are gonna enjoy my hot take, and this
Okay.
is gonna hurt. This is going to painfully hurt to say. My 2 top teams in the NFC are the Rams, and I do think, looking at everything, I do think they win it all. I think they win it all. I think they have the best quarterback in football right now. I think they have the most complete team. Teams that play together. I think it's going to be really hard to stop Puka and Devontae Adams, as you've seen. I think Kyron Williams gets going again, as he has in the playoffs. My second best team is actually the Cowboys.
I don't
And
hate it, honestly. I actually don't hate it.
and here's the thing, right? I look at all these teams, the Bears. I really just don't know. I do like them a lot. I love their game against the Eagles, even as much as I hate the Eagles. So obviously, like I love that, and I do love the fact that you know what they have the quarterback, and I love Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is a superstar in the making. I'm a big fan of him, have been since USC, right? Love him, and I think he's going to be. I think that, but I also like that defense. That defense is bend but don't break, but they have a good offense and they have a great running game. The Eagles, I think the Eagles are the biggest fraud in the NFL. I think the Eagles have, I have my own gripes against the Eagles, mostly because of Eagles
Preach.
fans. It's also because of the culture the Eagles have. There's a lot of things I don't like with the Eagles. And it kind of does start with their quarterback. And I know I can't see the chat. I don't know about the chat, but I'm one of those people that they say, where do you sit with Jalen Hurts? I think he's a just outside of the top 10, top 12 quarterback. And I can get into that if you want me to get into that. I won't get into that, but I have my whole spiel on that as well. I look at the Buccaneers. As much as I love Baker Mayfield, they're very not getting talked about as much. In the beginning, they were the hot team. They were the hot commodity. They were like they're like the Colts now. You just don't know what you're gonna get. They're like the Bills. You just don't know what you're gonna get because a lot of injuries, a lot of people in and out, a lot of people come back early. Like Mike Evans come back early. Like we don't know we're gonna get out of Mike Evans. Mike Evans could have one game and he's injured again. Like we don't know. Seattle is a really good team. A really good team. Again, the Rams Sam Darnold game, and I call it not the Rams Seahawks, call it the Rams Sam Darnold because is just scary. And I honestly don't trust their O line or their running game's too inconsistent. The Packers are just the Packers. I think they're very up and down again. And the Niners, as much as you like them and I like them too, I just don't know. And then I look at the Cowboys. Listen, I despise the Cowboys. I'm a Giants fan, as you know, as you've said, and like I said, it hurts. But when I watch this Cowboys team taking out my bias and just being a football fan, man, have they been through some you know what? have they been through something that some team can't go through ever? Losing Marshawn Nealon, God rest his soul. We pray for him and his family. Um, man, going through that is tough. What they've been through is devastating, tough, and you don't wish on any team to go through that early in the season. And they've been through a lot of bad things, but like I said before, when you have a quarterback, some things are fine, and they have, in my opinion, the top five quarterback, a guy who's if they were 9-3, if they were the number one seed, as much as I love Matthew Stafford, much as I like Drake May, as much as I love Jonathan Taylor's hat out jersey, that guy's the MVP. That guy's playing good football. He's had two interceptions in back-to-back games that have been really bad. But man, that guy's playing great football. George Pickens, a guy who I've been critical of the past, was just saying, hey, he's just DK Metcalf, but just more of a crash out. He's showing he can run the route tree. He's showing these guys they are so afraid of him going over top that his slant routes, and sorry, I know the slant route is what
The
was
third
the
down slant
dagger in
route.
your game
No.
and it's dragging your game, but in 4th and 3 to throw the slant route, he's showing a lot. CeeDee Lamb, essentially, and this is gonna hurt for a lot of Cowboys fans, but the truth hurts, and I like telling the truth, is a wide receiver two in that team. And if that's the case, that's the best wide receiver two
Oh
in the
yeah.
National Football League. Um, their defense, again, are they this big threat like the other top teams in the NFC and the AFC? No, but they are coming up when needed. I think the addition of Quentin Williams is huge. The fact that they have the best kicker in football as well. Do not sleep on the kickers on the NFL. I think one thing that's not being talked about is the difference in kickers. When you have a kicker, I think hot take, it's just as important as having a good quarterback on offense and a good defensive line pressure on defense. So I think that's so important. The fact that they can get past the 50 and to the 48 and know, okay, we don't have to rush anything. We might just need 3 points here because our defense has a chance to make a stop. That's very important. No one talks about that. And I get it. It's boring. So no one is going to talk about that. But when I look at that and I look at the Cowboys and the way they're playing, and I love Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know if I butchered that. I apologize. Man, like I think they're the second best team in the NFC, and you know, if they don't make the playoffs, I'm okay with it, obviously. But if they do, I mean, man, are they going to be scary? Especially if you have to play a game in Dallas as well.
Yeah, they're like that number one. Don't want to see them January team right now. And honestly, sure, maybe
Yeah,
right now it's a hot take, but honestly, I agree with pretty much everything you said. And for me, the thing with the Cowboys is I'm just picturing them playing the Rams in the divisional round. And what is Sean McVay going to draw up against that secondary? And there are just certain coaches where I feel like at the end of the day, they're going to know what to do when it comes to playing against that defense and playing against Dak Prescott. And this is kind of what the Cowboys do. This is kind of why Jerry Jones, I mean, he does get a lot of shit, but let's be honest, there's also a lot that he pats himself on the back for. And I think the reason is because the Cowboys are usually fun. And what they are right now is a super explosive, fun team that I think if they do end up making the playoffs, a lot of those red flags that were shown early in the season and in the offseason are going to be shooed away again. So it is going to be interesting to see if they do get in the race here and then how they shape up against a team like the Rams or even the 49ers. I
mhm.
actually wouldn't be too shocked if they won their division because there hasn't been a repeat division winner in 20 years. So it kind of feels like it should be the Cowboys. But yeah, no, I like a lot about what you said about the Cowboys for sure.
Yeah, big fan of you know as a coach too as well. I am a coach as well, and seeing how these guys are playing together and fighting for each other. And I've always thought Dak Prescott, as much as I don't like Cowboys, big fan of Dak as a leader and as a man, what he's been through and seeing what he's been through and the quarterback
Yeah.
he's become. I mean, listen, scary team to play, no matter what division you talk about. So yeah, I just thought I'd put that out there.
And before we get to our other segment, there's two teams we didn't really talk about too much. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on the Seahawks, and I want to hear your thoughts on the Packers because I do think as well, especially defensively, those are also very scary teams. And I think a lot of it depends on the quarterback play, but they're in there. I mean, there were certain moments this season so far where both of those teams would be considered front runners in the NFL. So I'm kind of interested to see how you feel because right now, currently, they are wild card teams.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the Seahawks. I really do. One of my closest friend bases, my brother is a Seahawks fan, so he's on cloud nine, and I'm happy for him. I do like I do like the Seahawks. I like my. I think I said his name right. If I didn't, I apologize. But I really do like the Seahawks as well. I think, you know, I think I'm not big on their offense though. That's where I
Yeah.
fall. And I don't think it's the quarterback. I think sense of, and I was scared about this when DK Metcalf got traded. So if I take away JSN, what are you? Because you don't run the ball well. You have a running back by committee, and both running backs are very middle of the pack. You don't simply use Cooper Cup at all.
Yeah.
Cooper Cup is obviously Cooper Cup. He's not what he was in 2021. Yes, Rashid Shaheed is basically got traded just to be there. So, and defensively, you guys, I don't think. I think they're good. Do I think they're a little overrated? Yes, but I think they're good, and then they have won the. I'm not saying, but I look at like, okay, what happens when you get in the shootout against the Rams again? You're not winning that. Packers, if they start finding that little hot streak, are you winning that? No. You play a team like the 49ers. If they start Christian McCaffrey starts heavy Christian McCaffrey, you really containing that? No. And when does it become teams are just chipping away at just field goals? And then we've seen it all season. I go back to that Titans game. It looks on paper. Watching the game, if you go back and actually watch the game, it didn't look as brutal as it was. There's some of their games that they have brutal scores. You look at the games, it looked like the teams were fighting back and their offense wasn't looking as good. So I'm just afraid of when a team decides that has a weak corner on that side of the ball, or a team brackets that corner. Even the Eagles, much as I criticize them, if Quinion Mitchell's on JSN and they're bracketing him with a safety, what are the Seahawks offense? That's where I'm scared.
Yeah.
Where I look at the Packers now to go there, Packers have a great defense. Obviously, I think they have the second best edge rusher in football, Micah Parsons. Um, I think he's having a great season. I think now he's more comfortable. He's getting more playing time. Um, and I'm not so scared or worried about them. Jordan Love is essentially what everyone says he is. He chooses two jerseys. He has two jerseys he says every morning. Do I want to be Brett Favre or do I want to be Aaron Rodgers? So,
I like that.
and listen, I hear the jokes all the time, but it's true. You watch him and I think it's funny, and I've always thought about this. The first time I ever said this out loud, they're a lot like the Bills in a sense, where they don't have a number one receiver. They just have a collection of receivers.
Yeah.
It's just their collection of receivers are better than the Bills' collection of receivers because they go and makes plays. Go watch that Lions game. Dontarius Wicks, man, did he make a lot of plays. Romeo Dobbs, we've seen him make plays out of nowhere. He's inconsistent. He had him on fantasy. He goes from, hey, here's 9 receptions for 100 yards, and then he'll have a game where he's 1 reception for 50 yards and a touchdown. So, obviously losing Tucker Kraft sucks, but Luke Musgrave, not a bad tight end. They've used a lot of their tight ends a lot. And we're not going to sit here and sleep on Josh Jacobs. Once he gets going, Emmanuel Wilson, once he gets going, that running game, it's very dangerous. They're one of those teams that, again, are very dangerous. But the quarterback play not been bad, but the offense just been sporadic. And if they aren't sporadic and they're in line, I think they're obviously, yeah, I think they're definitely my third favorite team in the NFC.
I'm actually very curious since you are a coach. From a coaching perspective, what is it like game planning for an offense like the Packers, other than Josh Jacobs, of course? Like, how do you deal with who is going to shut down who on the receiving end? Because it does seem like with their receiving core, it's, oh, Dobbs has a good game here, Watson has a good game here, Wicks comes out of nowhere. So how do you kind of deal with a receiving core that's more unknown on, who's really the best on which day?
Yeah, so obviously, if I'm coaching and I look and I'm a defense coordinator, one, I have to minimize something that they do. Christian Watson, since being back, every game has a 20 plus yard reception. Okay, we're not going to play man. I think against them, you have to play zone, and you just kind of got to pick your poison. If you take away the big. Jordan Love is one of the best deep ball throwers, one of the most looked through the deep ball. I think you take that away, and then you also just worry about the running game. So I don't think you pick out a receiver. I think you pick out what the quarterback going to do. He wants to throw the deep ball. He doesn't really want to throw the intermediate ball all the time. And if he does, you're okay with that. So you kind of blitz him, knowing, you kind of blitz him, and you kind of play more of a zone than a man. And if you do, you play cover two man, if anything, and you worry about that running back as well. So maybe change your defensive line scheme up more than change your secondary up, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. All right, very cool. Okay. Before we get to our wheel of teams, which I'll explain in a second, let's do our final Super Bowl predictions. I know it's only early December, but I feel like this would be fun to look back, and if one of us ended up getting this right, that'd be crazy. So I'll start. For me, it's really hard to pick against the Rams right now. Like I said, I think the Rams are coming out of the NFC. Basically all they have to do right now is stay healthy, and they're just the most consistent, most trustworthy team. For the AFC, however, man, do I want to be boring or do I want to take a huge risk here? I'll tell you which two teams I'm between. I am between the Patriots, which is one of them. I do feel like there is a potential for a 2021 Bengals, Drake May, kind of like Joe Burrow, where whatever team, gets out of the AFC, they're going to lose to the Rams in the Super Bowl, kind of like Joe Burrow did. Or do I go with the Houston Texans?
That's where I was.
Do I think they make a run? They're already starting a run right now, but do I think they make a run that's going to be talked about for a long time, even if they lose in the Super Bowl? I mean, you talked a little bit about the Texans. I haven't. I mean, as someone whose team is going up against the Texans this week with 2 starting tackles out and our right guard, I just don't know how Mahomes is going to survive. I literally just don't know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I think even with a healthy offensive line that they're going against, they are one of the most dominant pass rushers in the NFL this season. If you say they're the best defense in the NFL, I'm not arguing that. I probably agree with you. So, I mean, if the Texans and the Broncos played each other, the game's ending 10-7. But, oh man, do the Texans go into New England and upset the Patriots is the question. You know what? I'll say it's Rams-Texans just to make it fun. I think the Rams will end up winning the Super Bowl. Who knows? Maybe Matt Stafford's just hurt and I'm completely wrong and the Texans just end up losing the rest of their games. But that's what I'm going. I'm putting a stamp on it. Rams beat the Texans in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. My actual 2 choices are definitely the Rams. Like I said before, I love their offense. I love their defense. And if I had to pick a second NFC team, I honestly do think it would be the Packers. I do think it would be the Packers. Just if you can run the ball, I feel like you can do a lot of things, especially in the cold weather. So my second team is my team that in the AFC that's been criticized a ton, and I get it. And you're not gonna like this.
I know what it's gonna be. Oh,
the
man.
Broncos.
I've purposely avoided this team this entire time because I feel like I want to throw up talking about them. And I understand now how people felt talking about the Chiefs last year. I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, man, defensively they're phenomenal. Offensively, I understand the votes about Bo Nix, but he finds a way. Like he finds a way. Like again, historically you've seen teams in the past, they haven't done well in the playoffs in that sense, but when they get there, that always find a way to win. They always but this team finds a way to win, and they have a dominant defense. They always have. They have for the past couple seasons. They have the quarterback. Man, listen. At first, I wasn't a believer either. I was like, no. But I look at the Patriots. I like them a lot, and I do. And I'm if I'm wrong, cool. I can live with that. But the Broncos, man, I like them a lot too. I look at the matchups they could have, and it's like, hey, none of them scare me because the offense is too sporadic. Bills, too sporadic. Colts, we don't know. Chargers. I mean,
The,
Justin Herbert is hurt.
the Chargers are the
Uh,
Chargers. They're just
yeah, Justin Herbert is hurt with a hand injury, a broken hand. He could need surgery. Might not play this week. Ravens. Obviously, you talked about before Lamar not being fully healthy. Their defense is not that good. I think they also have a lot of coaching malpractice as well. The Jaguars, again, as highly as I am on them, I don't know if they run to the Jaguars, how do they really play? Patriots, same thing. If they run into again, a team that is good, do they beat them? I don't know. And then the Texans, I'm with you. That was my team, and I was like, man, I hope he doesn't say the Texans because I want to say the
sorry,
Texans.
sorry.
No, it's no. Listen, man.
Listen, great minds think alike.
Nah,
What can you say?
yeah, absolutely. And and I want the Texans to uh, succeed. I'm a huge fan of them. In a sense of like one of my favorite players of all time is J.J. Watt. He's part of the reason I wore number 99, and it's one of my favorite football numbers of all time. And I like the Texans. I always wanted them to succeed for that reason alone. But I love the coaches. I love D'Amico Ryans. I love C.J. Stroud. You know, I do love this defensive line. I like Will Anderson. I like Derek Stingley. I was a huge fan of Derek Stingley when everyone was crapping on him saying, "Oh, he's not better than Sauce coming out the draft." No, dude, that guy's legit. Like
Oh yeah.
he just was smart. I think it was just a smart move, especially at that time with COVID and everything. I thought it was a smart move. Sit out, train for the draft. It's not really going anywhere. LSU that year really didn't really go anywhere. Obviously, they did eventually, but um, but I do love the Texans, and I don't think I need to repeat what you've said already, right? They're a dominant defense. They have a good enough offense, but those are my teams, as well.
Listen, we get Rams Texans. That's a little week one rematch from this year, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it is time to move on to our next segment. And guys, comment down below as well what your Super Bowl prediction is for this season. And as we're going through the segment, I also want you guys to put down any questions you have about the NFL. And after the segment, we will answer them. So shout out everybody. We got Joey in here. We got the King Seth. We got Keiki. We got, let's see. Oh, we got Alan here commenting his first and goal. What's up, Al? We got Edwin. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for coming on YouTube. We also got Nick Garcia. You guys are the best. So we appreciate all of you tuning in as we move into our wheel of teams. So what we're gonna do here is I think we'll go 3 each, and we're gonna spin the wheel, and it's gonna land on a random team. And let's give it let's say we have to talk about them briefly in about a minute or two and just give our quick thoughts on their outlook, not only what we thought of them this season, but what their future looks like. It's going to be a quick, fun game. So we'll start with you, Jordan. I know you can't see the wheel right now, but I am spinning it, and I will tell you in a second what it lands on. And your team is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, which you've already talked about a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I can go a little deeper into them now. So obviously, again, we have to see what they are in the playoffs. Obviously, the division every year is kind of like a broke man's NFC East. They have not that good of a division. They have up and down teams. Obviously, I don't think anyone expect the Colts and them to be as well as good, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a good path. Would like to. I want Trevor Lawrence to succeed. I think they don't. I think they can't go in a different direction contract wise. I think Travis Etienne has had definitely a better season. I definitely would like to see them add a bigger back. I know Tanks Bigsby got traded. I thought that was a bad move by them. I think they could have used that bigger back. I mean, I like Tootin as well in the backfield. But maybe a bigger back. If the Chiefs end up saying, "Hey, Isaiah Pacheco, see you later," I would love the Jacksonville Jaguars to pick them up. I think their O line's not bad at all. I think they've improved. Their defense is really good. Again, one of those teams that's where they don't talk about, but it's really good. So, and future wise, I mean, yes, do you have your first round pick next year? No, it's to the Browns, and
That's
but I
what I'm
think
gonna say.
well, yeah, but I'm a big fan of Travis Hunter as well. I do like Travis Hunter. I hope he does continue to play both sides of the ball. I know a lot of people were against that, but I'm a big fan of that. I mean, listen, the landscape of athletics is changing, and if you have a guy that can play both sides and does it well, and you as a coaching staff can manage it, I'm all for it. So I know they have the first round pick, but they have a good future, and I really do love Liam Cohen. I like the way he coaches. I'm a big fan of him. I like their young GM. I think it's cool that you're kind of finally seeing a young GM that has been in the technology era, has been in the Madden franchise eras, kind of really get a chance to, get a chance to run well, a kind of a young franchise in a sense as well. So excited for the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars for sure.
Listen, I think it was perfect timing that earlier you said we need more people to talk about the Jaguars, and the first team the wheel lands on, the Jaguars. So there we go. I think that's a good start. All right, let's see what team I get. That would be pretty funny if it's the Chiefs. It is the the Atlanta Falcons. Oh no, never mind. The Arizona Cardinals. Okay, even worse.
Wow.
Great. One word to describe the Cardinals, and if anybody is a true fan of First and Gold, they know how much I make fun of the Cardinals. And if I had one word to describe them, it's irrelevant. And the fact that they are the oldest franchise in the NFL and they're the most forgettable franchise says everything about them. And honestly, if they went a full red zone and you didn't see them, I don't think 50% of fans would even notice. Okay, I'm being a little mean right now. But okay, here's the thing with the Cardinals. Obviously, a big storyline that's going to come out of this offseason is where does Kyler Murray end up? Because his time is up there. He definitely just played his final snaps for him a few games ago. And it's interesting. And if there's any Cardinals fans watching, let me know. Because I asked this actually in my last podcast episode. How are you feeling in terms of where the direction of this franchise is going? Because it's one of those tough spots where you don't have a top 5 pick. You probably aren't going to draft a quarterback, and there really aren't enough quarterbacks in free agency that are going to move the needle more than Kyler Murray would. So do you keep Jacoby Brissett, a guy who's been decent, but let's be honest, if he played a full season, you're not winning more than 7 games. So there's a lot of holes in this team where it just feels like a reset is coming like every 4 or 5 years. And I just think at this point, the culture needs to be changed. I think that Jonathan Gannon is probably gone. I don't hate the guy, but I think at this point for the Cardinals, it's really just can they hit on a quarterback and keep it moving, because I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I like James Conner when he's healthy. I like Trey Benson when he's healthy. I think that Trey McBride next to Brock Bowers is the best tight end in the NFL. And they have a young, solid secondary as well with Will Johnson. So it's not that it's not like they're the Titans where they pretty much have nothing and they have to rebuild for many, many years to come. But I just think this team lacks any sense of direction, and it feels like a depressing cycle that has happened for the majority of their franchise, honestly. And we're just stuck in one of those other years where people will completely forget about what the Cardinals did this season, and I think that's where they're at.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, currently they sit at the 8th pick in the draft. So, obviously I don't think there's a quarterback this year that can move the needle. I think, kind of like my Giants, I think they're better off see if they could trade down and see what other assets they can require. But I agree with you a lot.
Absolutely. And the chat says, King Steph says, Kyler to the Raiders. And Joey says, or the Saints or the Jets. I think, yeah, all 3 of those could be viable options. I think Vikings might be another one. But, yeah, Kyler, his time is up there in Arizona. We'll see what happens with the quarterback situation as we move to Jordan's second team from the wheel. Let's see what we got. And you will be talking about the... Oh, I got to spit it again and land on the Jaguars. How about that? That's funny. Okay.
Look at that. It's destiny.
Unless you want to talk about it more now. Okay. Yeah, it is destiny. All right, let's see. Come on now. We got the... Okay, this is good because... Oh, no. Okay. It was almost the Lions, but you'll be talking a little bit more about the number 1 seed in the NFC, Chicago Bears.
Awesome. Another team I really like. So again, I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams. I understand by some fans, some people don't like him. And the nail thing is big, but Yeah, the nails.
Doc
Him
Rivers.
having nails is a big old thing. Yeah. Personally, I could care less. When you can play football, I'm just gonna say you play
Same here.
football.
Yeah.
Um, he's a good ball player, and this team's really good. Their leadership is there, and I think they've been lacking that leadership, a person to come in and truly want to change a franchise and truly look to change a franchise and be innovative and use Caleb Williams and hold people accountable. And I think Ben Johnson does that in a way that's not demeaning. I think, again, I go back to Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. I think Aaron Glenn, hearing all this stuff coming out of training camp, was more like he's trying to he's trying to take water and grow land where there was no soil to be planted, where Ben Johnson is slowly putting the seeds, planting the soil, doing everything. And Chicago's just is doing what the Lions did. Hey, let's take two running backs, one that's shifty, one that's a bigger back. Let's use a running back by committee. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery. Hey, let's go out and go trade our picks and go get, and no, trade our picks, I'm sorry. Yeah, they trade. I think they traded for Joe Tooney. If I'm wrong, I mean you would know, right? You're a Chiefs fan. They traded for Joe
Yes,
Tooney.
for a fourth round pick. Yeah.
They traded Joe Tooney. Let's go get Joe Tooney. Let's go get our offensive line that needs to be fixed. Oh wow, it's weird when you fix an O line and spend resources that works. Funny how that works, right? Um, Shout out the Texans. Um, they go fix their line. They add a running game. Oh wow, play action game starts working. Let's get Roman Dunze involved, who wasn't involved last year. That's funny. That works. Oh, now that he's getting doubled. Oh, DJ Moore, welcome to the show. Cole Kmet. I didn't love the Coastal Leveling pick. Still don't like it to this day. Don't care how good Coastal Leveling is. I felt like that's a trade down spot, or if you do, go get Tyler Warren, who I think is essentially one of the best guys
Yeah.
in the draft. He was one of those guys in fantasy. I looked and I said, you know what? He's going to be my guy on every team because he's going to get the ball. Um, so, man, do I love them. And honestly, their defense has some older guys, a mix of younger guys, and they just have tenacious ball hawking players. Jalen Johnson doesn't get talked about, one of the best corners in football, without for a little bit. He's back and he's making an impact. He's shut down a lot of receivers. He's played a lot of good football. The D line's playing a lot of good football. There's a lot of guys on their team. They don't have any guys that are household names that are gonna, be on the cover or something. But man, they're playing good football. They're playing tenacious football. They're getting interceptions. They're making the Bears look really well, and a lot of the things coming for the Bears future wise, in a sense of they have the money and resources, and they have a chance that if they run the ball well, I mean, yeah, they do have a run, they do have a chance. Do I think they're the first seed for a long time? Who knows? Honestly, this year, who knows, right? Who knows? But excited for the Bears' future as well. Like I said, the Jaguars are a team that we could be talking about in the playoffs for the next couple of years or even in that realm just because, one, they got the quarterback and they got the running game as well.
Yeah, and Joey in the chat says, I hate to say it, but Ben Johnson's doing great. I completely agree. And I think, a lot of people, especially with Caleb coming out of college, want to see fireworks immediately. And I think the best part about what Ben Johnson has done to this team so far has said, hold on, that's going to happen, but we need to take care of the most important things first. And like you said, they really, really sharped up the offensive line this offseason, and he focused on the run game. And now he has guys like Monungai and Swift that can go tit for tat 100 yards each in a single game. And I just think these guys really want to play for Ben Johnson, which is one of the most important parts, which is why I think they do clutch up in the fourth quarter, and there are playmakers on this team, even if there are some red flags. So I think what we're seeing right now is a slow progression of Caleb Williams throughout the season that needs to happen because it didn't happen last year. And there were a lot of times where Caleb was kind of hinting like nobody really knows what they're talking about in the film room right now. Like, they didn't prep me for this or that. And Ben Johnson came in and he's an adult. That's the most important part. He knows what he's doing, and I think a huge topic of conversation was kind of like a mini version of the Brady Belichick thing, who's good without the other, was, is Ben Johnson good enough on his own without Dan Campbell and this Lions team? And he's definitely answered that question with a resounding yes. So I think the Bears, big future ahead of them, and I like a lot of what you said. All right, so this will be my second team, and that team will be the Green Bay Packers. All right, we're shifting over to another team in the NFC North. And the funny thing with the Packers is weeks 1 and 2, they were that team. They were the front runner going into week 3 before they lost to the Browns. And I think that they are one of the most well-rounded rosters in the NFL, where how many A-plus players do they have? Micah Parsons? Probably it. Maybe, Josh Jacobs, A-minus, but they have so many B-plus, B players on their team where there aren't a lot of depth issues. Where just on a baseline level, as long as you have that good coaching from Matt LaFleur, they are going to be in the mix every single year. And the fact that Jordan Love has his ups and downs this season shows that, yes, am I extremely confident in them going into playoff time this year? I'm not sure. But when they're on, they're on. And like you said, they're your second favorite NFC team. I totally get it. Because with that defense, with Jordan Love playing well, with a great running game, with great coaching staff, they are scary. And I think if they can shape up in the most important stretch coming up at the end of the season and play more like they did right at the beginning of the season, they are one of the teams to beat. So I like the Packers. They've always been a very stable franchise, and I think Packers fans are very lucky to watch 3 good quarterbacks back to back to back. And I'm not worried about them, honestly. We'll see what they do in the playoffs, but I think just pure roster-wise, top 3, top 5 in the NFL.
Yeah, got to be around there. Even though yes, do they not have a wide receiver one? I've always been in the camp of when it's hard to guard multiple receivers instead of having to just bracket one. Hot take, I'd rather have the Packers receiving core than the Seahawks receiving core.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure.
Hot take, I get it, and JSN's great, but like I said before, I could bracket your number one receiver and let everybody else beat me, right? I'd rather have, I'd rather have a running game on top of that. So I think, again, I go back to that Packers Seahawks comment we made before. Man, I think the Packers are better than the Seahawks from an offensive sense, but the defense, obviously, Seahawks defense is really tenacious. But man, when you got Micah Parsons, you can do a lot of things. Obviously, unless you're the Dallas Cowboys.
What was that?
Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, exactly,
you can't
of
do
course.
much.
And yeah, I think it's interesting because like a team with the Seahawks, it's like, well, if you shut down Njigba, you better have a good running game because your offense is screwed. And I think the fact that the Packers already have their run game established, and then there is that receiving core that, although not ultra talented, they are versatile, is scary. And I think, speaking of the Cowboys from 2 seasons ago, that was something they were just not expecting when they played them in the playoffs. And a lot of those receivers, even shout out like Bo Melton came alive, So I think there's a lot of they're very dynamic is what I'll say, and I think that just adds to how scary they are. All right. Final team for you, Jordan. Let's see. That would be hilarious if it lands on the Jags for a third time. Almost, but you'll be talking about, all right, this should be a fun one, the Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
All right.
So I think obviously the biggest thing the Cleveland Browns is Shedeur Sanders, who, again, fan of, maybe not as much as the general public is this big fan of. I like a lot of his game. Do I think he should have been, now looking at retrospect, should have been taken over to Jackson Dart? No, I don't. Obviously, I think Jackson's shown a lot more. If you want to argue a lot less, sure. I won't say that because I do think they have a lot of decent pieces, but that's neither here nor there. But the Cleveland Browns, you want to talk about a failed franchise, right? Let's call it what it is. Shedeur Sanders, good or bad as he is, he's not going to save your franchise. You don't even know if that's your quarterback of the future. Kevin Stefanski, I don't like the way he's handled this whole situation with Dylan Gabriel and Shador. I think the Browns organization is dysfunctional as it always has been, right? You hear the reports, well, the organization, Andrew Berry wanted Shador Sanders. Well, Kevin Stefanski never got to pick his quarterback, so we want Dylan Gabriel. Mind in fact, in the background of all this is Deshaun Watson. You had Joe Flacco. Like Joe Flacco gets traded. He has a great game with the Bengals, and he kind of is like, "Hey, like I'm happy I get out of there." Right. So there's a lot of dysfunction. You really don't even know walking into 2 weeks from now. Do you give Deshaun Watson a shot? Is he QB2? Is he QB3? Where do you go next season because of the contract with him? Do you start Shador Sanders? Like that's a whole diabolical mess by itself. Then you get into the roster of the Cleveland Browns. O line. They've always had a solid O line. Why do you think Nick Chubb was so good before a lot of the injuries? Well, the main injury that happened last year. Then you look at their O line's getting pretty old. Their best guys are getting up there in age. Their best guys might leave because guess what? Rings talk and they want to win a championship or they retire. And I know there's a lot of teams that would like Joe Patoni. I can promise you that. The Giants love Joe Patoni. Just to put that out there. The running backs, right? The running game is very up and down. Junkins, who I think is a good running back, has had his moments. Um, I like that dynamic a lot. But Junkins and Ford, can't remember the other running back, but Junkins is their main running back, RB1. That's solid. Receivers, Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy's not a receiver, wide receiver one. If that's your wide receiver one, that's another problem. He's a wide receiver two and a solid one at that. They don't have a wide receiver one. And then the only thing that's keeping them alive is Myles Garrett. And you can't do much when you just have Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. I mean, just dysfunctional. I just talked about two teams that have a bright future that came from the bottom, and now we're on top. Shout out Drake. Um, but man,
Shout out.
like there is no bright outlook. They could hire a new coach. Okay, you have to fire the GM. Okay, like how many times are we gonna write the story? I mean, at least with the Cardinals you talked about earlier, they have some assets. They have some ways. Yes, the Browns have two first-round picks, but to spend on what? Like, it's a lot of questions, a lot of no answers. There's no quarterback in this draft that you're trading your two first-round picks up to get. Do you wait till next year with Julian Sayin, Dylan Raiola, Arch Manning? Do you wait for that? And I think that's the route you're probably gonna have to go. It's just a lot of questions and no answers. And yeah, it's just another year of the Browns being good or bad. And Myles Garrett gonna get the sack record, but honestly, a lot of people are like, you know, they feel bad for Myles Garrett. I'm with them. I don't. No, they feel bad for Myles Garrett. I'm not with them. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
I'm
agree with
not
you.
with them. You went into that office and you said, what is your direction for the future? And they told you, and I don't believe that Shador Sanders was the future that you were saying. Oh, we're gonna have to stay here. So, like I said, sack record's cool, but you'll be stuck on the Browns for however long because they don't want to trade you.
Oh gosh, and the Browns just scream picking Arch Manning 2 years from now. Like that's just such a Browns pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Oh
man,
god,
you look at
the pain just
and
never ends.
that quarterback draft is going to be good, but like if you're asking me, hey, where would you rather go in 2 years, the Jets or the Browns? I,
I'm
you know,
living in the New York City metropolitan area. That's my answer. I'd rather at
I,
least live somewhere a little bit better.
yeah, at least I'd rather live in Hoboken, New Jersey,
It's
or
like,
Florham Park.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah. Then Berea, Ohio, I guess. I don't know. But
listen, shout out Cleveland. I've been to Cleveland. Very nice town. I recommend
underrated,
everybody go.
yeah.
Underrated town. One of those towns is like I can't wait to go back there. I went there for the draft.
Nice.
I've been there. I really like it. It feels very much like downtown Chicago with a little New York in it. So love Cleveland. Love the stadium. I hate the organization. But big fan. Happy Shador's getting the shot, and that's all you can think. Let's talk about perfect timing.
Definitely. And guys, as we do our last wheel spin, remember, put any questions you have for us in the chat. I already see a start bench cut question that we'll answer after this as well. So that should be interesting. It's about the Browns, so we'll see. But all right, before we get to that, let's see who the final team will be. And I am not doing the Arizona Cardinals again, so we will do a respin. This wheel just wants to pick like the same like two teams. All right. Come on, give me something good. And it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. You know, it's funny. I just talked about the Packers. I feel like this is a very similar team in the fact that at the beginning of the season, this was a major front-runner team. Now, the Packers, the reason why they fell off as a front-runner is due to some very odd losses that they had. The Bucs is a little more simple than that. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the receivers, whether it's the defense. So, do I think just like in the first few weeks of the season, the Bucs are Super Bowl contenders? Not anymore, unfortunately. I hate to say it. As a huge Bucky Irving fan, as everybody watching knows, he's like my favorite running back. Do I think he's going to be enough to take them back to this next level? They're going to be better than they were the last few weeks, but I just see the Bucs once again, kind of like the last 2 years, as one of those 11-win teams that are frisky in the playoffs, but I just don't see them pulling it together all the way this season. I think that the nice thing I could say about the Bucs is that Todd Bowles has got to be one of the most underrated head coaches in the NFL. And when Baker is on, he is a top 5 quarterback. So, oh man, I mean, like, do I see a world where the Bucs go into LA and beat the Rams? I just don't. So if there's any Bucs fans watching, I like you guys. You guys have an awesome stadium. I'll give you that. You guys got one of the best logos in the NFL. But it's just so disappointing because I picked the Bucs to go to the NFC Championship game this year. It felt like they were on track for that, but it just feels like the life has kind of been sucked out of this team lately. I think they're still going to win the division, but it's just another season where you're probably out in the divisional round, and it's like, well, Baker was great again, but are we going to take that next step? Hopefully we're healthy enough for next season.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. They're a great team when healthy, but I do like the fact that at the time it looked really bad. The Emeka Ibuka. I mean, talk about a guy who's going to be a receiver one in this league for 10 plus years. So if Mike Evans decides in the next 2 years, or Chris Godwin, who is not under contract next year, so he could be a free agent, and I think it'd be a perfect leeway just to let him walk so you can save some money. I know he's a legend in Tampa Bay, but let him walk. You have your first round guy, and Chris Godwin and Tez Johnson. I mean, talk about a speedster that can separate the field, whose route running has shown a lot of progression. That's another guy who could, be your slot receiver for the next couple of years. So you have the pieces are there. Staying healthy, I mean, it does help you have a left tackle in Tristan Wirfs. And defensively, you have a lot of young pieces that are really good. So I think the Bucs are always going to be a team that, when stayed healthy, are they dangerous? They come in healthy with playoffs? 1,000%. Mike Evans comes back. The threat of Mike Evans by itself is dangerous. So again, they're a team if they can get past the divisional, the wild card, and maybe the divisional, and they're a team that's still scary. I think they're a team that's still scary when they're hitting all the right notes.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it really just comes down to, first of all, how quickly can you get all your guys healthy? And then from there, can you get that chemistry back you had early in the season? And I think, yes, if they do those things and get past the divisional round, there's absolutely an opportunity for them to make a surprise Super Bowl appearance. So I like the Bucs. I really do. And I think that this was such a fun segment that I would love to do this again. But listen, we got some comments in here. We got some questions. So I'm interested to see what happens. I will go back to the first question, which was a start, bench, cut. Now, one of these are a former Browns quarterback, so I'll read this. So, start, bench, cut, Jameis Winston, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders.
Am I going first?
Yeah.
I'm starting Jameis Winston.
100%.
I think from I mean, I don't think Jameis. I think Jameis Winston has to be right now, off the top of my head, got to be one of the best bridge quarterbacks, if not the best bridge quarterback. I mean, in the NFL for a team. I mean, yes, Jacoby Brissett is really good, but when you talk about a vibe, a leadership, and energy that this guy can give you for at least a season, I mean, hell, he that could play you into a win and play you out of a win. And we all know Jameis Winston is, the only member of the 30-30 club. Uh, but like, I mean, he's dynamic. As a Giants fan watching him, he's dynamic. I would probably I would cut Dylan Gabriel. There's nothing really that Dylan Gabriel gives me that is so exciting. I mean, Oregon Dylan Gabriel is very special. He had a great season at Oregon. He's a winner at Oregon, but I like Shador Sanders still a lot. I think again, um, he brings a really nice vibe to a city. Um, I do think he holds the ball for a long time, but I think Dylan Gabriel does at time as well, and he does make but I think Dylan Gabriel makes a lot of bonehead decisions as well. So start Jameis, bench Shador, cut Dylan Gabriel, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you. Well, definitely with start Jameis Winston. I think above and beyond, he's better than the other two quarterbacks, like you said. But yeah, it's interesting. I think with Dylan Gabriel, it's weird because he is a rookie, but I feel like we've already seen his ceiling, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think with Sanders, even though, yes, he does take a lot of sacks and there are a lot of kinks to work out when it comes to the rookie mistakes he is making, there is still that small. There are those still. I can't speak right now. There are still small glimpses you see in his game where there is a
Mhm.
lot of potential. I mean, he is not afraid to throw it deep. He's not afraid to take off and run with it. And I think at this point, and listen, people like to get a. He's probably one of the top quarterbacks, and very quickly as well, going into his career, that people like to get personal about him. And I don't really like to do that. The only thing I'll say that's even kind of close to that is how coachable is he? Is he going to listen to his coaches saying, hey, like, you got to get the ball out as quick as possible, especially when we're struggling against a good pass rush. And don't be afraid to dump it off. Don't be afraid to take the easy shots and don't try to play hero right away. And I do think eventually he's going to do that. So I think the potential with Shador Sanders is definitely higher with Gabriel. Even if Gabriel's a slightly better player right now, I just feel like there's not a lot left in the tank for Gabriel. So yeah, I would agree. Start Winston and bench Gabriel, bench Shador, cut Gabriel.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Joey said, what if you put Watson instead of Winston? I would. Oh, God.
If
Don't.
we're talking about this current iteration of Deshaun Watson, I'm starting Shador Sanders.
Ooh, that's so interesting. I was like, Joey, don't make me say the words I wanted to start Deshaun Watson because I'm right
I,
there.
I
Oh,
listen.
it's
Very
disgusting.
much I very much I from the last showing of Deshaun, and I wouldn't say it's not his fault he got injured, but even before that, I think him having the incident and having that year and a half off from football, just he shows, and he still hasn't got a rhythm with the Browns. And so I'd rather take the young guy than that. And obviously I don't want to say I'll bench the door over Gabriel, but I will.
Yeah, listen, at this point, I don't blame anybody for being like, Deshaun Watson, don't even come to the facility. Don't even come near anybody because we know what happened. All right. Anyways, here's an interesting question. Jordan, what are your top 3 uniforms in the NFL? And this could be this could be throwback, this could be alternate, this could be just a team's regular uniforms. Whatever you want to answer this, I'm curious.
So um I definitely won. I won't do order because I'm not really good with the order. Uh but the Titans uniform, the baby blue, I'm a
Interesting.
big baby blue fan. I do like the Oilers throwback. I know no one really talks about them. I will mention the Jaguars uniforms, old school Jaguars.
Yeah, those are nice.
Number two, I actually do I have the jersey in here? I might have. I might have gotten pissed off and I might have thrown it down, but I don't have it. And my other one is hanging up. I am also a big jersey fan. For anybody that's, I love collecting jerseys. I love the Giants throwback jerseys,
Oh
the
yeah.
blue ones. I'm a big fan of those. I'm biased. And tied for one, um, is, and this is really again any jersey, is the Kelly Greens for the Eagles. As much as I hate them,
Yeah.
as much as I hate, and the black uniforms for the Ravens. There's something about when the Ravens play on Sunday Night Football in the purple and black, the stadium's all blacked out. I love those uniforms. I actually have Lamar Jackson's uniform.
Nice.
I do have Lamar Jackson's uniform. I do have this, and it's one of my
Yeah, no,
favorite
those are
jerseys.
nice.
I do. There's some. I mean, I'm a big fan of the color black. I am, but I love this color combo when they play in it, and they got the lights. And there's something about, I go back to the Ravens versus the Patriots, Tom Brady's last time in M&T Bank Stadium, when Lamar comes out with the towel, and the lights. There's something about that jersey, man. There's something about that vibe, and it's one of those that has to be on prime time. You can't wear it anywhere else. That I love. And there's a lot of jerseys I love. It's so hard to rank even three. If I can even, I know this is the guy's question was three, but if I can throw in two more,
Yeah, of course.
I do love the rivalry jersey for the Rams. I do love
Interesting.
that jersey. I do love that jersey. I think that jersey is so cool. And I do love the throwback jersey for the Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to Sean Alexander. There's a lot of jerseys I love. I'm a jersey fanatic. So those are my three. Throwing some 5, 6 with the, Jaguars. But man, I do love a good jersey.
Oh man, this has got to be the toughest question. I mean, the videos I enjoy making the most on this channel are aesthetic based rankings in the NFL. There's so many. Guys, go check it out on our YouTube channel. There's a lot of tier lists out there. So I've thought about this a lot. I agree. This is almost nearly impossible. One of my favorite parts about the NFL is the uniforms, especially the helmets, which is why I was surprised you said the Titans, because I am a huge powder blue guy myself as well, but I just can't get past those navy blue helmets. And if they went back to the white helmets, that would be so much better.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a
Oilers,
big fan.
though, that's up there for sure.
Yeah, the Oilers helmet is so cool.
Yeah, 100%. If they went back to the Oilers, I mean, the Titans would snap back into relevance so quickly. But oh man, I don't want to try to pick what you picked, because obviously Kelly Green and the Seattle Seahawks uniforms have to be top five for me. But okay, this one pains me to say it, just like the Eagles for you, but you got to put the Raiders up there. The Raiders home uniforms with the black and silver. I mean,
Oh yeah.
no other team in the NFL has that combo. And yes, have they not been good pretty much my entire life? But when they were, I mean, is there anything more intimidating than going into Oakland, let's call it the 1970s, when they were really good and they had those uniforms? I mean, those are tough. And it's funny because, honestly, I think the Chiefs uniforms, I think their helmets are elite. I love the Chiefs helmet. But the uniforms are fine. Like, I think I would understand if most people were like, yeah, they're average NFL uniforms. Because I'm going to go to another AFC West team that has better uniforms than the Chiefs, which is the Los Angeles Chargers. And I think it's between two. I think it is the powder blue with the yellow pants. That is a classic combination that pops at SoFi, especially. But you know what? They just brought it back this year. And I'm not going to lie, they have slowly become one of my favorites, which is the all navy uniforms. And
Really?
yeah, and it's weird because I didn't love them growing up, but for whatever reason, I miss them, and I just think the rebrand they did with them really pops. And I'm a huge fan of all the Chargers uniforms except for the all yellows. But if you want to
Those are just
go a deep cut with the Chargers, I mean, you want to go their late 70s, early 80s, like navy blue with the yellow
yeah.
outlining on what is that, the Dan Fouts
Dan
uniforms?
Fouts. Shout out Dan Fouts.
Those are some of the nicest uniforms I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
only
For sure.
Chargers uniform that was okay was the 2010s Phillip Rivers uniforms before their rebrand in 2020. Like their white uniforms with the white helmet and the black outline on the lightning bolt was okay, but
Yeah.
Man, what do I go with my first? You know what? Okay, I'm looking. There's a thing of helmets behind the computer. You can't see it. I'm just looking at all the teams. I gotta make sure I'm getting this right. But I think I am between. This is gonna be a surprise. I am between the late '90s Vikings uniforms, where they have the darker purple and the yellow outline on the shoulder pads with Randy Moss. Those are absolutely elite. Or, oh man, or do I go with the Super Bowl 53 Rams uniforms? I love both of those uniforms. I don't know what to choose from, but the fact that the Rams went full IKEA rebrand was just, it
Oh
just
my.
hurt. It just really hurt. It just, I like the Rams and it made me dislike them just a little bit more. You know what? Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about another amazing uniform, which is the Dolphins throwbacks too. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
how badly did they screw up on their rebrand as well? I mean, not only switching the aqua to a lighter, like way less intimidating color, but come on, dude, bring back the dolphin wearing the helmet on the helmet. Like that's the best part of the uniform. So I don't know. There's so many out there, but those are just a few that I love.
Yeah, shout out the Lions uniform rebrand with the dark blue and then the Thanksgiving uniforms.
Yeah, those were
Like again,
nice.
a lot of these teams have come out with these uniforms, and I get kind of like the NBA. You got these uniforms that come out every year, and it's just for money. But it's like some of these uniforms are sick. I mean, I'm looking at just some of the like the Commanders. They brought back their old uniforms. The Jets, the Gotham City. That one looks pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's coming up this
Um,
week. That's gonna be sick.
Absolutely. Like I look at, we've had some bad ones. I like the Atlanta Falcons black and black. I mean, talk about prime time. I mean, black, white numbers, red outline. The Niners throwbacks. Got a lot of the Bears.
Creamsicle.
I'm sorry, the Buccaneers, creamsicles, the
Yeah.
Broncos, Orange Crush. I mean, so
Steelers home
many of them.
uniforms are pretty nice.
Yeah, the Steelers black and yellow. Talk about another iconic, uniform combo. But yeah, love the uniform.
And also, I mean, I can't believe I didn't mention this, but best helmets in the NFL, right here.
Really.
Some people hate them. Some people think they're way too busy, but I'm not gonna lie. I understand why my dad, growing up in New Jersey all his life, said that's gonna be my team right there. Because you just look at that, it's
Hey,
a cool helmet. It's a cool helmet. Not gonna lie.
okay.
But actually, I got the throwback helmet too. The throwback 1970s
Wow.
Bengals helmet. So this one's
Look
pretty
at
sick
that.
too. But yeah, no, that was a great question. Who asked that question? Was that Joey? Thank you, Joey, for that question. All right, final question. I have. Oh, Joey also said, "What about the Broncos throwbacks with the blue helmet? That's a great look as
Yeah.
well. The orange
Orange
crush,
Crush.
absolutely." Okay, I have no idea how to answer this, so I'm just gonna throw this to you. Al
Okay,
in the
tough.
chat asks, in basketball terms, how good is Miles Garrett compared to someone like Palomalu or Ed Reed? What does this mean, Al? Who?
If we're talking generational, if we're talking generational, I don't. I mean, it's hard. One, that's
Shaq?
Palo and Reader
I don't know.
are safeties.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Al.
So are we
Like, is
talking
he the
like
best ever? Oh, I see. You're just saying, is he one of the best defensive players of all time? The answer is yes.
the answer is yes in basketball terms. Is he one of these new age guys that have just taken over? You're like, you know what, he definitely is. Yeah, I think it's like he's a guy that came in and from the jump dominated. And the guy I think about is a guy like Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, Lakers star, former Maverick star. Guys that don't watch basketball, if you don't, please go watch Luka Doncic from the jump coming out of Europe. Uh, Played is a all star, and from the jump had no takes off. Has gotten criticized for his some of his actions, as in like laziness and defense, and you know. And Miles Garrett obviously has the incident with Miles Mason Rudolph, but we're talking about dominance from the jump and one of these young guys that is arguably already the only other person I can maybe compare him to is maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo. Another person
That's a
that
good one.
not very criticized, very beloved in the NFL, beloved in the NBA, I should say, who again, he's one of these young guys who's in now his 30s. I think this is probably better comparison to Giannis, who is already a Hall of Famer, is one of the most dominant players of all time. You had to design a whole defensive scheme. I don't know how much basketball you watch, Sam, but Miami in 2020 had to design a whole defensive scheme just to stop this one person. So
Yeah.
NBA terms, I guess I'm comparing him to more Giannis. So my Luka take was a little crazy now I'm thinking about it. So definitely Giannis.
Luka's got to be Micah Parsons, but
Really? Yeah. Yeah, I
well,
think so.
well, not to the point. I mean, Micah Parsons hasn't proven himself enough yet to be Luka, but just in terms of leaving
Yeah,
Dallas and
I
being
think
one of the prime players. But I totally agree
yeah,
with Miles Garrett, though. That is,
yeah, Miles Garrett has to be. And then obviously, we're talking defense players all the time. And what's crazy is I was just thinking about this. And look at the sack record. Yeah, he's got to be. I think he's got to be considered one of the greatest of all time in sense of domination, sense of like just a guy who like you haven't. This is sometimes I feel like this is what it was watching Lawrence Taylor.
yeah,
And I
definitely.
never say that about anybody. And I think Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defense player of all time, and I don't dispute that. I don't argue that with anybody. I know I just recently had a conversation with a guy that on my football team, the cameraman. He was like, "Is Aaron Donald better than Lawrence Taylor?" And I was like, "Dude, I was like, I get it. I totally do. We don't get the guys we have today without Lawrence Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy was not even supposed to be in New York. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I really that's what I think it's like watching Lawrence Taylor, just a guy that you expect to get 2+ sacks a game. So shout out Miles Garrett. Obviously, still don't feel bad for him, but you got any more questions? Honestly, I love answering questions.
Yeah, guys. I
You
mean, before we end this, make sure to
10
drop any
minutes.
questions. I also think that if you want to throw Miles Garrett in your Mount Rushmore of defensive linemen, that's totally okay. I think it's him. I think it's
Yeah,
Donald, Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White. Those are my four.
yeah. I mean, so I kind of don't consider Lawrence Taylor a defensive lineman
Or
just because
pass
he's a
rushers, I should say.
pass
Yeah,
rushers. Yeah,
sorry.
like it's pure defensive lineman. Donald, J.J. Watt,
Ooh.
uh, Miles Garrett, and probably Reggie White.
So Joey just threw a good question there. Start,
Okay.
bench, cut. Although I think I have a pretty easy answer for this. It's LT, Aaron Donald, Reggie White.
Uh, st- the order you just put that is how I'm
Me
putting
too.
it.
Me too.
Uh, again, I don't. Again, I think LT is the greatest of all time. I don't dispute that with anybody. I do not care what anybody says. There's not a man
I
that
agree.
has dominated. And everyone was like, "Well, it was easier back then." Well, he was on cocaine. Anybody be good on cocaine. Yeah, I get that, but a famous LT story that I learned when I went to the Hall of Fame, and I didn't even know, is in the Thanksgiving game they played against Detroit Lions. He had a torn shoulder out of the cuff. Basically, he's playing one arm. Sack, interception, forced fumble.
That's amazing.
There's not many guys like it. Aaron Donald, again, undersized defensive lineman, played and dominated, and basically was like a LeBron who always was in the first team All Pro, was in a Pro Bowl, some kind of All Star, was always an All Star, basically. And then obviously Reggie White, no disrespect to him, obviously a legend, but I just don't. Those two guys for me, uh, as well as what prime time are the best defensive players of all time.
It's so unfortunate that Reggie White is getting the cut here, and I think it's because he played around the same time as Lawrence Taylor. Because I think when you think of Aaron Donald, it's he has shaped his generation of pass
Mhm.
rushers, and I feel like that alone probably puts him a little bit above Reggie White. But shout out Reggie White. I mean, that guy was
Yeah,
insanely
it's
dominant. That's a hard
it's one of
question.
those. Yeah, it's one of those. Like you had just have to cut him because of the question.
Yeah,
Obviously, if you can keep three guys, I mean, shoot, I think anyone would.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, listen personally. Me, I love questions. I love answering all questions about football. I love hearing people's thoughts about football. So I mean, listen, I don't know how much time Sam's got. Obviously, this is his show, but I love questions. If anyone has any questions or anything, I'm an open book when it comes to the ball.
Yeah, listen, I think we got time for about one or two more questions. There is a couple left in the chat. Joey Votto, with that defensive lineman question, Hey, go throw those 3 guys on your Madden franchise team if you can, or Ultimate Team, and see who outperforms each other. So maybe that'll answer it. But okay, okay, this is a good question from Al. Who's your fave mascot in the NFL? Any thoughts on Major Tuddy? Is that the who's Major Tuddy again? Is that the Oh my
All right,
gosh.
listen,
Why am I forgetting who Major Tuddy? Is that the Commanders mascot?
Major Tutties. Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, that's the Commanders, isn't it? Yeah, that's your favorite one, of course.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to all the mascot lovers. I'm not a huge mascot fan. Sorry to break people's hearts.
Dang, come
Uh,
on. Come on, Jordan.
call call me a lame.
Wow.
I mean,
I,
listen. Essentially, I do like the Colts mascot. I think his name is Bluey, I
yes.
believe. I do like the Colts mascot. I think he's hilarious. I like him a lot. I love that he got to celebrate with Cameron Byam, who's absolutely hilarious with celebrations. I do like him a lot. Um, the Houston Texans, us mascot, stay in the same
Toro.
division.
Yeah.
Toro, I think is cool. And I can't. Do we count Gronk as a mascot for the Patriots? No, I'm just
You know, it
uh,
might as well at this point.
might as well, right? I don't. Like I said, I don't. Like I said, not a mascot fan. I even I go. I used to go. I went to King University. I I coach at King University, so we have a mascot. So I apologize. Not a mascot fan. Let's just say for aesthetic reasons, the Ravens mascot.
I like that. Ravens
I
mascot is
understand.
good because, fun fact, the Ravens mascot, I'm pretty sure tore his ACL while being the mascot in one of the games. And then weeks later, he came out of the tunnel in a wheelchair and then like broke out of the wheelchair and started sprinting down the field, and like the whole crowd was going crazy. So that was a great moment.
That's
Here's a
cool.
fun game. There are 3 NFL mascots in the Mascot Hall of Fame currently. One of them is Bluey. Could you name the other 2? Both of them are in the AFC.
God. Uh, is it the Broncos mascot?
It's not the Broncos mascot.
No. Is it the Chiefs mascot?
One of them is the Chiefs mascot, the KC Wolf. Shout out.
Oof.
One of them is a team
Um,
we talked about a lot tonight.
oof.
We're really coming full circle if you guess this one. That's a hint.
Jaguars? Jaguars mascot. Yeah.
Jackson
I
DeVille,
mean,
the man who bungee jumps off of the scoreboard.
yes. Oh
I
my
mean, what a
God.
legendary mascot.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I apologize for not being a mascot. That's the first mascot question I've ever gotten in my life. Football wise, I've been talking football for gosh forever. So apologize for that. Surprised we haven't gotten a Jalen Hurts question.
Ooh, yeah, guys. Do you have any hot takes about Jalen Hurts or any teams?
Uh,
Okay, here's
I,
a good
I
one.
have. You said I have my own.
Do you want to share that first? Because we can tie that into, let's call it our final question after this, which is a quarterback question. So,
Okay. My hot take on Jalen Hurts, and I actually heard this today. I didn't watch the full video on TikTok, but it kind of explains how I am. I think Jalen Hurts is a B plus quarterback. I think he's a guy that is a good quarterback, but not a top 5, top 10. Why I believe that is, I think about all the top 5 quarterbacks. And this is just very broad. Think about all the top 5 quarterbacks. Think about all the traits that make quarterback. I think about the big guy that makes they always ask, hey, if you could make a quarterback out of all the quarterbacks in the league, what would you make? Okay, let's go through that. Shall we, Sam? You just tell me if I'm wrong. Arm strength. Is Jalen Hurts top 5 in any of those category in that category?
nope,
No. Deep ball, intermediate ball, short ball. Is he top 5 in any of those kind of categories?
nope.
Okay. Rushing ability. Is he top 5 in any of those?
You take away the tush push, probably just outside of it. No,
Right. Okay. So, um, uh,
I'd say top
so we
10
talk
though.
about. Listen, rushing wise, top 10.
Yeah,
Top, not top 5.
no,
Um, you look at leadership. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Top 5. Oh, okay. I'm okay with that.
that's close.
Again,
That's
if you
close.
say no, I'm also okay with that.
Yeah,
So when I look at those main traits, okay, let's go even deeper. Outside the pocket, making something out of nothing. Is he top 5 in that?
he's the king of rolling out to the left and throwing the ball away. So I would say no.
So all of those traits I look at and that make those top five. But the main thing I hear is, well, he's a winner. There is a lot of quarterbacks, and I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, and people say this a lot. If Dak Prescott had that roster, you think Dak Prescott wins the Super Bowl with that roster?
Yes.
Jared Goff wins the Super Bowl with that roster. I believe Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl with that roster. Patrick Mahomes, well, I mean, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes with that offensive line and that running
Man,
game?
don't remind me if the Chiefs would have Howie Roseman for even 1 year. Don't even remind me.
CJ Stroud, are we talking about CJ Stroud being a top five quarterback if he has that offensive line? Like, do you see what I mean? I just think that, and it's not more Jalen Hurts. It's more Eagles fans and Jalen Hurts fans that put him in this top five category when essentially he's not top five at anything. He doesn't do anything that well. When I look at the top five, I look at Patrick Mahomes, your guy, man, game changer, game on the line. He makes the right plays, right? He kept the Chiefs alive when they looked like they were down in the dumps.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so that makes him top five, does it not? Drake May this season. We're talking about this season. Drake May, I mean, he looks pretty good. He's in the MVP conversation. His best receiver is Stephon Diggs. That's weird. Stephon Diggs was looked at as washed. Kayshon Boutte, who? Looked at another guy that wasn't that well. Demario Douglas, don't know who he is. I know who he is, right? I look at a team like the Buccaneers, right? Baker Mayfield, all the injuries, still performs pretty well. The only bad game he really had was the Rams. And Emeka Mbuka is the number one receiver on that team. He was a rookie. Shout out Emeka Mbuka. There's a trend here. There's just a trend of there's a lot more guys in the league that are better than him, and I think would succeed. And I think he's in the ranking of the Sam Darnolds of the world, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy. He's in that middle of the pack. You're a good quarterback. You're just not one of the greats. And I think it's time that we just start keeping him there at those expectations that, yes, he's going to have those games. Minnesota, perfect pass rating. He's going to have those games, and he's going to have his bad games. That's nothing there. But he is a middle back quarterback that's going to have the good games and bad games. Jordan Love, we criticize all the time for having 352 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and has had other games where he has 150, looks like shit. We do the same thing with Sam Darnold. We do the same thing with Baker Mayfield, but we don't do that with Jalen Hurts because when we do, it's everyone's on top of him, everyone's on him, everyone is criticizing him. My thoughts of Jalen Hurts is this. Great team, beneficiary of a great team, great organization. Not knocking him because of that. That is what you're supposed to do, build around your quarterback. But I like to see when a quarterback doesn't have anything, has to build around it, what is he? Yes, he started out very well in his career. For a second-round pick, he's been great. But he's just not one of those guys that I'm starting a franchise with. Quite frankly, if you're honest with me, I think he's the third best quarterback in that division. Healthy Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. I'm okay with being wrong about that, but I know I'm not. That's where I stand on Jalen Hurts.
Eagles fans, cover your ears. Jalen Hurts is the Tom Brady of Alex Smiths. I will leave it at that. He's an elite game manager, and that's the nicest thing I could say about him. He is a guy that won't crumble under pressure, and he has won the important games. But yes, I agree, he has his limitations, and he is a huge beneficiary of a lot of different things. I think he is really good at keeping his cool, which is a huge part of his leadership, like you said. And yeah, I do think I put him at number 6 in my rankings this offseason, and I'm not going to lie, 50% of that was to not get a ton of hate comments, but I had Jaden Daniels at number 5, so I actually don't hate your take of he's the third best quarterback in the NFC East. Now, obviously, I had Dak behind him, but this season, 100% Dak's ahead of him. And yeah, I just think, I just don't want Eagles fans to kill me, but yeah. I am. Yeah, listen, you're a Giants fan, so I'm sure this discussion.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think down below about that. Joey Votto says, "Wow, just wow." Okay, this is our final question. Now, we can split this into two parts, but
Yeah.
can you make a list of the top 5 current quarterbacks in the NFL and the top 5 all-time quarterbacks in NFL history? I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start current?
We start current. I feel like just because we're coming off of that conversation with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Um,
Jalen Hurts will not be. Spoiler alert: will not be mentioned in this.
Spoiler: Jalen Hurts won't even be on these 10 fingers to count the
Ooh.
10 quarterbacks I like over him.
Also,
Or like,
just to clarify, is this just based off of this season, or are we still gonna bring in bits and pieces of what we know?
I think based on the question, this season we're just gonna go this season. 'Cause I
Just this
feel like
season, okay? Because that changes stuff.
this that I think that and I love that we're just focused on this season. 'Cause
Okay.
I feel like for example, Lamar won't be in here. I'm
That's
a
what
Lamar
I'm saying,
Jackson
yeah.
fan. I saw the jersey. Lamar is my favorite quarterback in the league. He's not my top 5 quarterback. And so I'm not counting this season. If we're counting past 3 seasons, of course.
Yeah.
The top 4 is probably staying the same. So my top 5 quarterbacks.
In order.
1 is Matthew Stafford,
Okay.
for sure. Best quarterback in football right now. 2 is Patrick Mahomes.
Come on, there we go.
Listen.
Take two. We'll take two.
What are we talking about here? 3 is Drake May. Drake May. He's been playing good football. I can't knock him for playing good football. 4th is gonna be Josh Allen. I mean, I know he's been streaky, but man, when he's on, he's good. He's good. When he played his game, and he's good. He's good. And 5th, I understand it's been up and down. Oh, I'm sorry. Forget what I was gonna say. Dak Prescott.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I was
Dak
like,
Prescott is 3rd. I'm sorry. Dak Prescott is 3rd.
he might be 2nd, honestly.
You know what? Scratch it. Yes, you're right. Stafford, Prescott,
I'll let you put him over Mahomes. Yeah.
Mahomes. I'm
May.
gonna put Drake May, Josh Allen.
Woo! If you would have said that in August, that's crazy.
Yeah, I would have gotten crucified, but hey,
Oh
Dak
my
Prescott.
gosh. Yeah, oh man, I find it hard to disagree with that actually. I mean, maybe the order a little bit, but I'm really trying to think. I mean, 100% Stafford is one for me. I don't care what happened last week. He had 30 touchdowns, 2 picks coming into week 13, so he's number 1. That is a good list, Joey Votto. I'm trying to decipher what I would even change. Once again, I'm looking at all the teams in the background. If that's why you guys are like, why am I looking over here? Do I also put Dak? Yeah, I think I have to. You know why? Because Dak Prescott is doing exactly what Joe Burrow has done last year, and dare I say even better right now? I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing, and again, it goes. I've said this to people. This is why I've always gotten. I'm not the biggest fan of Dak. You look at Dak. Dak's always been doing this. Like teams losing, he puts up 400 yards. I remember a couple years ago he had 400 plus yards against the Bears. I think it was 2-3 years ago. It was on. I think not Monday night. It was on Thursday Night Football or game on Fox. I can't remember. And he put up 400 yards and it was like, Dak Prescott is elite. Yeah, he has to, because if they don't, they're going to lose, or they're already losing. Seahawks, the year he got hurt, week 2 against the Seahawks, against Russell Wilson, nobody in the crowd, he threw up almost 500 yards, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, this is the MVP." Well, no, he's Russell Westbrooking in 2017. In 2016, 2017, he's Russell Westbrook. He's putting up the numbers. And if he don't put up certain numbers, either they're losing by a lot, or they're just there. So sorry to hate. I don't mean to hate on Dak, but like he's been doing the Joe Burrow thing. But this year really is more Joe Burrowing in the sense of he's carrying our franchise back. So
absolutely.
And Sam, yeah, like I said, if you want to change my top 5 or add anybody, you go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm putting Drake May above Patrick Mahomes, and I
That's
know
okay.
that sounds crazy coming from a Chiefs fan, but Mahomes has made more game-losing decisions this year than Drake May has. I know Drake May has taken, I think, the 3rd most sacks in the NFL, I want to say, but that's better than throwing some back-breaking picks that basically ended a couple games this season. And I just think right now, obviously, if I'm starting a franchise, I'm picking Mahomes over anybody. But we're talking about just this year. So, do I even put Mahomes in the top 5? I think I do. I'm just trying to figure out if he's 4 or if I put someone else in. Was Josh Allen your number 5?
Josh Allen was my number 5.
Okay, hands down, Mahomes is above Josh Allen this season. Josh Allen, as like you said, half the time resorted back to 2018 Josh Allen, 2019 Josh Allen. And I think Mahomes has had statistically a better season than he has the last 2 years. So I can't do that. I will put Mahomes at number 4. Now I'm just trying to figure out, does Josh Allen deserve to be in the top 5 this season? The thing is, there's been a lot of weird quarterback play because would I put Sam Darnold ahead of Josh Allen? No, not really. Would I put
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, would I put Baker over Josh Allen? Is he doing more with less right now? Although Josh Allen doesn't really have a lot other than his running game. It's really tough to say. I think, oh man. See, this is contingent on Baker finishing the season strong as well. That's really tough for me. I mean, Daniel Jones, that conversation is pretty much over. He was maybe top 5-ish for a little bit there, but I'm going to say no with him. Even Jared, I know the Lions have had kind of a weird season, but Jared Goff has been very consistent. Like, he puts up 250 to 300 yards every game, multiple touchdowns, and he's going to end with over 4,000 passing yards, over 30 touchdowns, and they might make the playoffs.
I think the Eagles game for me just took a lot of stock. I watched him force the ball to kind of what Jared Goff did in the back end years of his Rams year. Just sometimes look flustered and force the ball in spots he doesn't need to, or try to make things happen that's not there and go and again, I do think the change of play call doesn't help, and Amon-Ra's talked about it as well. So this isn't me hating. Amon-Ra said we haven't gotten going, and they had gotten going against the Bears, but other than that, they really haven't gotten going. So too inconsistent for me.
I think
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think I'd put Josh Allen at 5. I think his superhero ability has to throw him over the top. I want to give a quick shout out. He's not making the top 5, but I want to give a shout out to Justin Herbert. I think that the Chargers came into this season where we all thought, okay, it's pretty clear with Harbaugh at coach, Herbert's not going to be that 5,000-yard passer, and they're going to rely on the run game like they did in 2024. But no, I mean, Herbert has put up some very solid numbers, maybe not as much as late, but I do think he is having a nice season, although now, of course,
I think he's having a Justin Herbert season.
Which is going to go under the radar, like it usually does.
It's under the radar, but I don't know. I'm looking at him like, I don't know. I felt like last season I think last season I definitely put him in my top 5 the way he was hooping last year.
Yeah, he did a lot with not as many opportunities that he usually gets because they did run it so much last year, but he had, what was it, like two interceptions, right?
2 interceptions and then threw four against the Texans.
Yeah, last year was more top 5. So yeah, we have the same top 5, just slightly different order. Yes, Josh Allen is in my 5. Joey, Aaron Rodgers, just in my opinion. Yeah. Listen, I know you're a Steelers fan, but you should be hating Aaron Rodgers right now. So I know you're joking, but yeah, no, that's not even in my ether. Okay, well, I think that will be it. First of all,
we forgot one more. The top 5 quarterbacks all time.
Oh, of course. What am I saying? Okay, hold on. All right. You started with the current. I guess I'll start with the all-time. I almost forgot. I'm totally sorry. Okay, this one is actually really interesting because... Okay, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. I think that's more interesting. Number 5, and he was almost number 6 because this guy has no rings, but you got to respect it. It's Dan Marino. I'm going Dan Marino at number 5. At number 4, this is where it gets interesting. I will go Peyton Manning at number 4. At number 3, due to the fact that this guy did not make history last year, for now, do I think he's going to be at number 3 by the end of his career? No. But for now, Patrick Mahomes will be at number 3. Joe Montana will be at number 2. and then Tom Brady, of course, which I'm not going to lie. I don't think Mahomes is ever touching Tom Brady. So, Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's number one.
Okay. So my fifth is Aaron Rodgers.
Fair enough.
Big Aaron Rodgers fan. I really love. I think Aaron was one of those first guys in the league that could really make any throw and every throw, and you've seen him do it. With, and I think he again made household names that are guys that weren't household names. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. Is Devontae Adams the same guy we give him the credit for if he was on Aaron Rodgers in the beginning of his career? When Devontae Adams started, he did have a lot of drops to begin his career. No one remembers that, but trust me, he did. Aaron Rodgers at 5. 4 is gonna be, and I hate to do it because I love the Mannings, Peyton. Uh, I just, I love Mahomes. Mahomes at 3, for sure, and then Montana at 2, and Brady at 1. I think we're same boat. Just, I like Aaron Rodgers in that fifth spot more than Marino. Shout out, really, Drew Brees, Dan Marino,
Yeah.
and yeah, shout out some of those
Johnny
guys.
Unitas.
Yeah, wow, Johnny Unitas,
Roger
Johnny
Staubach.
Unitas,
Yeah.
Starbuck. One of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time,
John Elway.
Terry Bradshaw.
And Terry Bradshaw. Yeah. Terry Bradshaw,
Yeah.
Troy Aikman, John Elway, Brett Favre. All overrated.
Wow, Brett Favre.
Yep. Definitely.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
at his peak, extremely talented, but he should not touch the top 10 for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being
Interesting
honest.
take.
Yeah.
Interesting take.
And am I missing anybody in the top 10? I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing somebody obvious. But the reason I chose Dan Marino is it sucks because he didn't win a ring. So I feel like you shouldn't put somebody that didn't win a ring in the top 5. But he just has. Oh, Steve McNair is another interesting one. Not top 10, but that's an interesting one.
Nah.
I mean, he's good, but definitely not touching the top 20 even. But I think Dan Marino, just for his time, the passing numbers he put up were absolutely unheard of. And I think that if he even had just one ring, he would just be easily in the top 5 conversation. Now, I do agree with what you said about Aaron Rodgers, that I think the only person with more arm talent than Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers can hit a deep ball perfectly pretty much 80% of the time, and Patrick Mahomes is one of the worst deep ball throwers in the NFL right now. So I agree. It was between Rodgers and Marino. I just think at the time that I think what Dan Marino did during his time was just slightly more impressive.
Yeah, I do. Aaron, just for me, the amount of times, like, he was like the first guy when I watched was like, you can't leave time on the clock. Him, Brady, Peyton. But he did it at such an impressive style, more than Brady and Peyton, that was like, oh shoot, like he can run out the pocket and put on a dime, put on a rope. Brady and Manning were just cutting you up with their mind and their football IQ. Not that Rodgers doesn't have it, but just using that as an example of like the way he cut you up. The same thing with, like, there's a different way LeBron James could come down the court and give you 30 points and a quarter if he needed to, versus Stephen Curry, where he's shooting threes and off balance, or LeBron's more of a down the lane, maybe give you a mid range, maybe a 3 here and there. It's just a different style of cutting up on a defense.
Absolutely. And first of all, guys, in the chat, thank you so much for the questions. Those are some great questions. Really threw out some thought-provoking stuff here. So that was a lot of fun. And that's going to do it. So once again, thank you so much to Jordan. Jordan, if you want to plug any of your stuff, go right ahead and have the floor.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank Sam. I'm hoping we can do this again. I know I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I've never really done a live stream like this, so I hope you guys enjoyed me. I know I'm a big talker, so I hope I didn't bore anybody with some of my long
No,
explanations.
not at all.
So I hope you guys enjoyed me. I enjoyed being here. Blessed. Thank you so much. So you can follow my regular Instagram, JBell99. I think that it. I Let me check my handles just to make sure I get my handles right. I don't really plug myself as I should. I extremely apologize. So my regular handle is JBell2020. I don't really post that much, but my username for where you could check out some of my other work that I've had in the past is jxbradio. It's jxb_radio.
I'm gonna put that in the chat.
I don't know if yeah, so that's where I've had some other work. I am thinking about having my show, restarting my show, coming back soon. Just been a lot of different life things as well. Have happened. Been blessed with a coaching opportunity at Kane University. Shout out Kane University. Shout out the Kane Cougars. Shout out my D line
Shout
at
out.
Kane as the D line coach. But yeah, so like I said, I'm very blessed for the opportunity, Sam. Thank you so much. I really hope we can do this again if if time permits, if schedules permit. I know you're a busy man, but I appreciate your content, appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed. And I hope I was able to entertain you and the people watching.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I can't believe it's almost been 2 hours. I mean, it absolutely flew by. We were just talking about so many things, and it was just such a fun time. Guys, W. Jordan in the chat. We got some W. Jordans. W. Jordan, in my opinion, you should stream about football. So there you go. If you want to get into streaming, you got some fans already. And no, I
Absolutely,
definitely think this was such a great conversation. And Jordan, seriously, I really appreciate you coming on. And yeah,
absolutely.
guys, go check out. I put it in the chat. JXB_radio. And yeah, guys, that was a lot of fun. First ever live stream episode. This will be going out onto Twitch, of course, and YouTube. So if you want to go on our YouTube channel at First and Gold, you just click the live section if you want to go back and rewatch the video. Well, Jordan, if you want, I could totally make some clips out of this. So, guys, try to go on socials and follow us at First and Gold on TikTok and Instagram. And you might be seeing some clips from this episode as well. So, a lot of great discussions. Jordan, any last words before we get out of here?
Um, I hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week. Obviously with the holidays coming around, hopefully God bless you and your families as well. Hopefully you guys are spending time with your family as much as possible this the season too. Good luck on anyone doing finals. I don't know how many college people we have in here, but good luck on anyone doing finals. Please finish strong. Like I said, God bless Sam. I pray for him and his success. First and Gold. What a show. What a time to be alive. Uh, yeah, I appreciate it again. I can't. I know this won't be the last time I'll be on
I
the
feel you.
show. I've already thrown out the fact that maybe we should do a mock draft when time permits.
Come on, we
Uh,
have to.
yeah. So, but I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate the time. Know it. 2 hours sticking through is hard for attention span wise, but hope we can entertain. Hope we entertained you.
Listen, if there's one thing that my attention could stay on, it's football. That's for sure. And yeah, this will certainly not be the last time we do this. This was so much fun. So thank you, Jordan, in the chat. We need episode 2. Bro, Jordan is the GOAT. There you go. There's some chats in there. And oh yes, new video is about to be up on First and Gold as well. So guys, go check that out. I'll be posting that in a little bit. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. You will see Jordan in the near future for sure.